So what we do in day shift? There's a lot. So let's start. Same thing in the night shift. Day shift starts with safety brief and then handover each bay and the battle begins. So after the handover, I do the drug rounds. And while I do the drug rounds, I introduce myself at the same time. So it saves time. And while I do the drug rounds, sometimes when the patient takes time to take their tablets because they've got a lot of tablets, I check the suctions and oxygens at their bedside and then make sure that they've got nasal specs and non-rebreather mask. After drug rounds, I check if there's any observations due, and then after that, I have the healthcare to wash the patients. In stroke unit, we get a lot of patients that are immobile, like they are bedbound, hoist dependent, and some of them needs assistance when it comes to washing themselves. Others, they can't really wash themselves. If the patient had stroke and they've got severe weakness on their half body, like for example, they've had right side stroke, so their left side body is not working, like they can't lift their arm, they can't lift their legs, they can't feel this side. So that's heavy. In day shift, we get 6 to 8 patients, and if we've got a lot of patients who are double-handed means 2 people needs to wash the patient because they can't turn themselves because they've got weak side. The healthcare can't wash the double-handed patient on their own. It's not safe for the patient, it's not safe for the healthcare, so we help them. Nurses do a lot of things, but after all, we help each other. For me, time management is the key to survive because we need to help the healthcare, we need to do our job at the same time. So yeah, it's difficult, but we are a team, so we need to help each other. And at around 7:30, the nurse in charge handovers to doctors and therapists about the recent updates of the patients. And at 9 o'clock, the doctor's rounds starts. Our break starts at the same 9 o'clock. So we've got a first break, second break, third break. In other ward, they've got a different time. So it's 9 o'clock in Phoenix ward stroke unit. It's 20 minutes in the morning. At around 11 a.m., we check the blood sugar of the patients before lunch or dinner. If I'm not on first break, 9 o'clock, I go with the doctor's rounds because it's interesting. I learn a lot from the doctors regarding stroke. I learn more about stroke. What is good about going with the doctor's rounds is that you know immediately what's the plan for your patients. Like if the patient is medically fit for discharge to go home, so that means the patient is just waiting for the therapist input. So if the therapists are happy for the patient to go home, then the patient can go home on that day. Therapies like occupational therapies, physiotherapies, and speech and language therapies. So knowing the discharge plan for your patients early gives you more time to manage your time. So if the patient's going home, we need to prepare their discharge medication, their discharge letter, and then their transport. Lunch time starts at 12 noon. So we help our patients to eat because if they've got a weak side, they can't feed themselves. Sometimes the speech and language therapist watches the patients to eat. How's their swallow? Yeah, sometimes they feed the patient, the speech and language therapies. In stroke unit, patients have different diets like soft diet, level 6-0, level 5, minced food, and then level 4 diet, puree. And if it's a level 0 fluid, that means they can drink anything. Like for example, level 4 puree, and then level 2, 2 scoops of thickener. Sometimes they are only allowed of sips of water, and sometimes level 6-0 diet, water only, or level 4, level 0 diet, water only, like that. Or sometimes they are just allowed of yogurt. Yes, yogurt. So if the patient is on modified diet, most of the time we give the medications with the yogurt. So we need to crush the tablets and give it with yogurt. It's difficult when they've got a lot of tablets and we need to crush them. Like in the morning, have 7 medications. I think the maximum tablets that I gave is 15. So one patient has got 15 tablets and I need to crush all of them. That's a lot. Just for one patient. Others have got like 5 tablets. And then at around 12:30, I start with the 1 o'clock medications. I start the medications quite early because I don't want to rush things. And also we've got a lot of patients who's got NG tube, So if they've got NG tube, we need to crush the tablets. Crushing tablet takes time because there are tablets that are difficult to crush. Anyway, it's okay to give medications 30 minutes before it's due. Lunchtime break starts at 1 o'clock. It's 30 minutes. After the break, we start writing notes. Sometimes me, if I've got time, I write notes at around 11 a.m. right after the doctor's rounds. That's because the therapists, physiotherapists, occupational, speech and language, dietitian, pharmacists, doctors, specialist nurse, they write notes on the medical notes. And then do the observations again. It depends on their frequency, like 4 hourly obs, 6 hourly, 8 hourly. It depends. If the patient's on IV meds like IV antibiotics, it's most of the time it is 3 times a day. So 6 a.m., 2 p.m., and then 10 p.m. At 2 o'clock, we give the IV medications. If there's a patient who will be transferred to other hospital, the nurse in charge will do the handover. But if the nurse in charge is busy, the nurse looking after that patient will do the handover. So the things that I'm gonna need to prepare if one of my patients is going to other hospital is the discharge letter, discharge medications, MAXIMS details down the description, and their transport will be booked by the nurse in charge or by the ward clerk, and the patient's belongings and the patient, of course. So we need to make sure that all of their belongings will go with them, all of their own medications. So we need to empty the locker, their locker, because I had patient before. He went to other hospital and then his medications was in the locker. So yeah, we forgot to check the locker. So we learn from our mistake, and if it's busy, you know, before they go, we need to make sure that they don't have cannula. And also at around 2 p.m., we check the patient's pad. We get patients who are incontinent. So yeah, we do care rounds 3 times a day. It's the same in night shift. We do it 3 times at night. So morning, afternoon, and then evening. But it still depends. If the patient went to the toilet many times, we need to document it on the care round form. And then at 4 p.m., that's our third break, 15 minutes. The day is about to finish. We're nearly there. So evening meal, 6 p.m. But before they have their meal, we need to check their blood sugar. At around 4:30, we start the medications for 6 p.m. And then do the observations that are due, then wait for the handover and go home. There are care plans that we need to fill up, like the NG tube care plan. So before we give anything through their NG tube, we need to make sure that it is in place. So we fill up that care plan and then we give the meds or feed or water. And that's the end of your day shift. The routine varies to every area, but doing medications 3 times a day, care rounds, blood sugar checks, doing observations is common. It applies to every ward because I've been to a lot of area in our hospital and they just do the same. I'm not sure in other area, but what I've mentioned in this video is the common routine. In my hospital, in my trust. I'm not sure in other hospital, I'm not sure in other trusts what's their routine, but most likely they do the same thing. Doing meds, observations, blood sugar checks, pad checks. Hello, Miss Wonderfully Made. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching my videos. I did a couple of bank shifts in ED and I can tell you a little bit of their routine. So in my trust, let's say they've got 4 sections. Minors, resus, majors 1 and 2, and rats. I think they've got pediatric department as well. I'm not sure because I'm not permanent there. Patients who are critically ill or needs life support are in resus. So from ambulance, they go straight to resus. If the patient doesn't need to be in resus, they first go to rats. In rats, they do cannulation, triage, bloods, ECG, and other stuff for initial assessment. After rats, they go to majors, majors 1 and 2. In majors, that is where they will be seen by the consultant, medics, and they first receive their stat doses of medications, IV drugs, oral antibiotics, IV fluids, and that is where they wait for further investigations like X-ray, CT scan, MRI, and other. And after that, they will be transferred to ward or area to whichever area they need to be admitted. And lastly, in minors, that is for outpatients. If the patient won't be admitted and will be discharged to home. they will be given discharge letter and discharge medications or TTOs. ED is busy. I haven't been there for quite a while now. It's just that I want to chill and relax. So I don't book in ED anymore. Thank you. Bye. And that's the end of my video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Hello, Miss... Oh.